I want to talk to you about the Riot MMO's grand economic blueprint. That single hire that we saw the other day, I have a link to it here. This principal game designer, progression and economy unplugged. I'm losing sleep over it because I really think the progression and economy in the MMO is probably the most important thing the MMO has when it comes to if it's going to be successful or not. And it's the easiest thing to screw up. And so I took all my thoughts and my rants and then I put them into an article. And so, of course, there's the going dark tweet, but that recent job posting emerged, and for a team that has intentionally gone dark, we can glean what the team is up to behind the scenes based on the recruitment post. This analysis deconstructs the hire to understand the project's current state, its core design philosophy, and how Riot may be planning to solve some of the MMO genre's most enduring problems. This really is what it's telling, the responsibilities. That's kind of what their goal is with the role. What are they looking for the person to fill? What shoes are they going to be filling when they're hired? So the architect of the world. Riot's search for a principal designer indicates they're not looking for someone that simply executes an existing plan. They're hiring an architect to design the blueprint. This senior role is responsible for establishing the foundational systems that will define the core player experience for the entire lifecycle of the game. The job description itself lays out the monumental task. As a principal designer focused on progression and economy, you'll build and maintain a thriving MMO player economy. You contribute to and connect the many elements like progression, skills, resources, goods, and trade. You help us create a stable and sustainable economy where all activities and player types are valued and balanced. So 2 pillars stand out from this description to me, and that's progression and economy. 2 things that it seems like no one can freaking get right, honestly. Progression is the why. It's every system that provides a sense of growth and purpose, from leveling up to gaining reputation. It's the psychological engine that keeps players engaged. Economy is really the how, the intricate web of governing and the creation, flow, and the destruction of all resources. It gives a tangible meaning to progression, from crafting gear to trading on the auction house. And crafting should absolutely be a player avenue. I always felt like in Classic, like I played Classic WoW when they released that, and in Classic, when I had nothing to do, I did professions. That seemed like the thing. I feel like in retail WoW, when I have nothing to do, I have nothing to do. I don't really play as much anymore, but like when I didn't have a raid or whatever, I started getting into PvP. I would climb to like 2500, if you guys know what that is in arena. And once I get 2500, I unlock that full gear set, which I try to. It's like a armor set that you can unlock per season. Once I did that, and I usually hit like heroic. I'm not gonna hit mythic rating. I'll like finish normal. If I want to, I'll do heroic, and I don't really care to finish it. And then you're done. In Classic WoW, when I didn't have anything to do, I would just do professions. I'd go out, I'd farm, I'd herb, whatever. I'd get stuff for the raid, right? Get stuff for the upcoming raid. That's the kind of thing that you're supposed to be doing. Some people in the guild just did professions, and that's fine. That's what they wanted to do, but they still contributed. That doesn't really happen anymore. And then I want to talk about this because progression can easily be destroyed. It's way too easy to like destroy progression and not be able to come back from it. Like, how do you recover from this? I don't know if you guys can hear it. Okay, yeah, you can. Yeah. The infamous level 60 boost. This little gnome. Oh, he's tired. He's exhausted. He's been questing. It's so sandy and dusty out here. A bonus. His friends are selling him on the idea. He's only level 60. How can he ever raid? Purchase. And now he's trash. Okay, so what he just did there was he paid money to skip progression. Like he literally said, hey, this is boring. I'd rather just play with my friends. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay to skip progression to go. You should never even want to pay to skip progression. Progression shouldn't be allowed to, for one. But you should enjoy the progression. And every system ties together, and professions were something that you did while you were leveling. Like leveling in Classic WoW is something people like doing. And then leveling in current WoW is something people just like have to get through. It's like a chore. That progression system ties a lot into the economy of the game. And then, Blizzard kind of took over the economy by just selling the boost. So that's something, and it's hard to come back from that kind of stuff. Like once it's there, it's really tough to get rid of. Like the WoW token, you're selling gold. Once you're selling the gold, the WoW token exists. How do you get rid of it? once the Blizzard store exists in World of Warcraft, how do you go back? I don't think you really can. It's like these are mistakes that are permanent and kind of really destroy the economy of a game for short-term profit. I call it out. I'm going to say how it is. It's short-term profit for a long-term like destruction of the health of the game. These two systems are inextricably linked. The desire to progress fuels economic demand, and functioning economy facilitates that progression. The timing of this hire strongly suggests that the MMO is in deep production or a very early production phase. This aligns perfectly with Mark Merrill's statement about the reset, confirming it was not a small course correction, but a fundamental teardown and rebuilding of the game's core vision to be a significant evolution of the genre. That's really what the reset was. I don't think they were just throwing out assets. You know, I'm sure a lot of the art was built, a lot of the zones, they already had like the map laid out, what zones were going to come out at launch and stuff like that, and maybe like the first 2 patches story-wise. I'm sure that was all done, and it's still the same, but it's the core is what's going to be, what was going to be changed. I'm going to be a little bit off topic, but I will go to mandatory military service about 6 months. I hope game not come out when I was not here. I don't think it's gonna be out anytime soon. That's for sure. There's not even been a beta yet, and I want to do another discussion with you guys about alpha and beta and how it should be done, because even currently World of Warcraft, they have like beta testing of full raids, and it comes to the point where if you're involved like in the community, if you're on the Reddit at all, or you're watching YouTube in any way, it gets to the point where you know everything before it even happens. Like if you do a beta or an alpha, it's got to be internal. But I think you're good. If you're good, you're 100% good. We haven't even gotten a trailer yet. And then this, so like new and returning player guide. This shows like a little bit of the economy of World of Warcraft.
This includes crafted items, raw materials, and loads of items that can just drop from the world. So
this is I think a horrible. I wanted to show this because I think it's a horrible system. This is literally just like mixandmatch.com of selling goods. It's just a bunch of people listing a bunch of stuff that they get, and then everyone just goes on and buys it. Now, I don't think an auction house is useless. I just don't think it's the best system to engage like a MMO economy. It's not engaging enough. There's not enough here for someone to like really engage it and barter and trade. It just feels like you go on, you grab your herbs, you go on and you list them for lower than the price that's there. There has to be a better way. The economy as a society's art. To truly evolve the genre, the in-game economy must be more than a marketplace. It must be a social fabric of the world, a deep player-driven economy, which fosters independence and transforms the game from a solo experience into a virtual society. The goal is to make every playstyle, not just combat, feel essential. In a well-designed PDE, player-driven economy, the raider needs the crafter, who needs the gatherer, who ensuring that all players contribute meaningfully to the ecosystem. Not everyone is able to make it to raid night, you know? But if you're in a guild, you're crafting, like if someone wants to be the best miner on a server, or the best farmer or whatever, the best blacksmith, yeah, that's not raid night. That's gonna be more intermittent play, right? You can do a little bit, log off, do a little bit, log off. And sometimes that's the playstyle that people, that's the only time that they have. Not everyone can log on for a freaking 4-hour raid. But that should still be meaningful. It should still feel essential. Like, yeah, you know, this guild has the best blacksmith in... Oh, wow, this is really loud. Is it? No. Okay. Yeah, you should be like, it should be almost a pride thing to have the best blacksmith on the... More a PDE acts as a dynamic content engine. Instead of static NPC quests, the economy itself creates emergent goals. A high demand for iron ore, reflecting in its rising price, becomes a community-driven quest for miners. This constant flux of supply and demand offers a depth of engagement that pre-scripted content can never match. Like, the players need to be able to make their own content at one point, and the best way to do that is with an economy and a world that's ever changing and people fighting over resources. Now, I will say this, I think Ashes of Creation, I'm never going to play it. That's what I think. But they do a great marketing job.
All throughout the world in Ashes of Creation exist nodes. These nodes at first exist behind the scenes, unknown to the players as collection points for activities. These nodes are divided into zones of influence, or ZOIs as we call them, represented here by the different colored areas, and within each zone is a node as shown.
I think the node system is pretty good. Again, I think they're great at marketing, but the node system sounds nice.
A node represents a specific location where a camp can form and gradually be developed into a village, then a town, to a city, and eventually a metropolis. Every activity a player participates in will fall within a specific node's ZOI. And
Guys, look at how think about this. This world is ever changing. These nodes and these people, and they're developing based on players. Like Runeterra, I feel like everyone's stuck in the current MMO mindset and they literally did a reset in the MMO because it was too similar to the MMOs today, like World of Warcraft. But you're so stuck in that mindset that you're losing sight of what Runeterra could be. Like imagine Runeterra has these node systems and they're changing environments, and groups are fighting over resources, and there's guilds fighting each other in different spots. Like between Noxus and Demacia, there's this area that's really high in this particular ore, and there's these two large guilds on your server that are fighting. I could go on a tangent about server health and what it means to be like a closed ecosystem for a server.
Only so many nodes can be developed, and certain content is locked behind which nodes develop. This can create conflict between different communities that have a vested interest in the development of certain nodes. When you first enter the world,
Look at that.
you will arrive through one of the great divine gateways.
So he's saying that these nodes exist and content is locked behind which nodes are developed, and players will develop the nodes. And so guilds are going to be fighting, like groups are going to be fighting basically this group wants this pink node developed, but another group wants the green node developed. Well, if you want the green node developed, you're probably going to start fighting with the pink node if they're getting close to like fully developing it and then pushing that content. And then it creates a whole player system. Like the economy should encourage the player ecosystems to grow and to interact with each other. It's the most important part of the game. I feel like it's almost just as important as raiding.
These portals are remnants of the civilizations that once inhabited this world. Your ancestors fled their home in haste, and now an eternity has passed, and these divine gateways have opened once again, leading you back to the world of your origin. As our players begin to explore their surroundings, they will find a world teeming with valuable
That's a pretty cool
resources,
concept.
complex quests, and monsters. In this case, one of our players has found some ore to mine, which allows her to progress her artisan class by collecting.
Yeah, see, this is like she's literally getting experience and she's contributing based on her just mining. Is the Riot MMO happening even? Oh yeah, the Riot MMO is definitely happening. We're discussing like what this new role that they're hiring for, the principal game designer, progression, and economy. And you could literally filter on the Riot Games website by maybe not this page, Riot Games roles, because I think I just clicked on that from Google. So if you go to work with us, they literally have, where is it, MMO. So it's definitely coming out. It's gonna happen. I know there's not a lot of faith these days for some reason, and everyone's like, it's never gonna happen. But I promise you it will. And we're gonna talk about the economy and what that should look like.
Collecting materials from the world. This other player has begun to harvest wood he needs.
See, they're gaining like the node progress bar experience for the node. Then there's another thing I wanted to show you guys. That's pretty much the node system. Where was it?
This will add a potential trade route that our caravan system will take advantage of, connecting two neighboring nodes and allowing for economic.
This is what I wanted to show you guys too, the caravan system.
However, all of this activity has triggered something deep within the mountain.
See how the world's changing based on what the players are doing? Like the activities, there's a bridge and there's caravans traveling back and forth between these two nodes that players are developing, which is triggering this mountain, this volcano to explode. So stoked for it, man. Me too. I really think the Riot MMO is the only MMO that, it'll be the next MMO that I'm going to play. I'm not going to play anything else. And then once the Riot MMO comes out, I'm pretty much just going to play that the rest of my life, is my plan. But yeah, like,
and adapt to provide the players an immersive tale.
A freaking dragon appears. Like that's what I'm talking about. The Riot MMO is going to be something different, something unique. And I think Ashes of Creation, in terms of marketing, they definitely hit that itch of, I want something different, where it really feels like a new MMO. I don't know if you guys are fans of like theme parks or whatever, but they just came out with Epic Universe from in Orlando. Epic Universe. I haven't been, but a lot of people who go there, and this park just came out, say that it feels like a new park. You know, like Disney World, they have all their parks, but they've been around for a while, and they haven't made much changes, especially in the last couple of years. They'll add a couple rides, but this park, people say, no, it feels like a park that's been recently built. It feels different. And I think that's how the MMO is going to feel. It's going to feel like something new and something different compared to, what's already there. The history of MMOs offers a crucial lesson. EVE Online. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about EVE Online and Albion and whatnot. So EVE Online and Albion are celebrated for their complex, player-centric economies that create deep social structures. Conversely, games like Star Wars Galaxies suffered from hyperinflation, while New World at launch faced crippling deflation. Riot must navigate the sandbox accessibility dilemma, creating an economy with the depth of a sandbox like EVE, but the approachability that defines games like League of Legends. So now I'm going to talk to you guys what I think about that economic design, what I think it should be. So the history of MMOs provides stark examples of both the power of a well-designed economy and the catastrophic consequences of a poorly designed one. So we'll talk about EVE Online, because that one always gets praised for its economy. Literally, I don't even hear about the freaking game. I just hear about the economy. EVE Online stands as the genre's most famous and notoriously complex example of successful player-driven economy. Virtually every item in the game, from ammunition to capital starships, is manufactured by players from materials harvested by other players. This has created a breathtakingly intricate economy, complete with corporations, supply chains, industry espionage, and market manipulation that mirrors the real world. CCP Games, the developer, even hired an expert economist to help manage and analyze the virtual world. A more accessible success can be found in Albion Online, which features a completely player-driven economy combined with a system of localized markets. Goods do not magically appear in every city's auction house. They must be physically transported by players. This creates meaningful roles for players, traders, and haulers, but also introduces risk, as they can be ambushed by other players in PvP zones, making high-value trade a tense and strategic endeavor. I know that when you look at this node system, you're like, someone's going to be like, but I lost all my stuff that I harvested, and now it's not fair. It's like, bro, it's supposed to be a real world. There's risk, there's reward, and if you take a risk, sometimes stuff happens. It's part of the game. Like, you should have, made a group and been prepared for that inevitable outcome. I never played MMO before, so I wonder how similar it will be to League of Legends gameplay wise. I think it'll definitely be free to play. In terms of like the gameplay of League of Legends, I think League of Legends is really telling when it comes to the combat. Like, League of Legends has skill shots as well as, tab targeting where you're clicking. And I think in terms of combat, MMO is probably going to be pretty similar to that with a hybrid approach. Some kind of hybrid between tab targeting where you're actually clicking on the enemy and just pressing the button, as well as like a lot of skill shot abilities. For sure, MMO will break the internet. They're already huge. Yeah. I mean, the number one comment, guys, I make videos. This is what I do. Like, I just like, I love Runeterra, so I make Runeterra lore videos. The number one comment that I've ever gotten across every video I've ever made has always been, I thought the Riot MMO was canceled, or the Riot MMO was probably never going to come out, or I didn't even know the Riot MMO was still a thing. That's the number one comment I get on these videos every time. But I promise you, it will. I want to show you the EVE Online video. Okay, yeah, listen to this. This is like EVE Online.
EVE Online is interesting for a bigger reason though, that is often overlooked. That is its amazingly realistic economy. Almost every item in this game, from rounds of ammunition to space stations, are player made. And by player made, I mean that raw materials are mined by player corporations, then transported by players from logistics corporations to open markets where the materials are traded to players that will again transport these materials back to space factories, where they will be turned into usable items and once again hauled back to an open market, where they'll be sold to an end user who will probably do this with it.
Okay.
To get a sense of how diverse industry and economics is in EVE, this is a flowchart. It's a condensed version of popular professions that people can do in this game.
Look at this.
Sure, other games have crafting that is almost as intricate as this, but no other game combines that with the level of player involvement seen here. Throughout that entire process we just saw, not one NPC was involved. Every trading partner was a real player, and this means that EVE Online has a surprisingly realistic and genuinely fascinating economy.
Player alliances. So then he's going to go through like, player.
Now there is so much I could talk about in this video when it comes to the...
He talks about like player alliances, but you get an idea of how the economy works. Everything is player driven, and he goes through basically the consequences of it being a player driven economy and what that results in. And I think with Riot, the Riot MMO is definitely going to be free to play. Every single game from Riot Games is free to play. And so I don't think they're going to have trouble with the player base, especially with how much hype is already around that Riot MMO. So it's just about if they have enough players to be able to do all this stuff, someone who's willing to haul, someone who's willing to craft, and then having the economy that incentivizes those activities, you could absolutely have a 100% player-driven economy. And then I want to talk about I'm going to talk about the player-driven economies that are not player-driven, but they're supposed to be because of freaking bots. Riot Games ruined my life. Great. That's how it's supposed to be. I can't stop playing League of Legends. I need to really try League of Legends again. I play Legends of Runeterra. I played Wild Rift a little bit. I played a little bit of League of Legends. I'm mostly just a massive fan of the lore, and so we're playing through the Ruined King games right now. I don't know if you've heard of those, but the Ruined King games are great. But I just suck at League of Legends. Do you plan on playing 2XKO? I do, but I only have a Mac is the problem, and a Switch, so I need to get like a PlayStation or an Xbox. I really want to play 2XKO. I really hope they add in like story within 2XKO. You know, like Mortal Kombat always has a story mode. You know what I'm talking about? And like you get the cinematic. Same with the Marvel games, whenever the Marvel fighters, like Mortal Kombat story mode. Yeah, they have like these story modes with the cinematics. I feel like 2XKO could absolutely do this. They already got all the characters for it. You could definitely have a story with Echo and Blitzcrank going through and fighting at like a Zon factory, and you have the story mode with a couple cinematics. They could do it. I want to quit, but I can't. 10 years in this. No, you shouldn't. I think you should keep playing League of Legends. League of Legends is a great game. I want to start playing League of Legends. I wish I was in your shoes. What if Riot MMO's copy of WoW? I definitely don't think that's going to be the case because they literally did a full reset because of it. If you remember, this tweet came out, what was it, in March 2024, and honestly, the job postings really aligned with what he's saying here. But he said, that they kind of went dark because they basically were making a game that was too close to the World of Warcraft, and they had to change direction. They didn't change direction here. They definitely changed direction more like 2023 to early 2024. But they did change direction and moved more towards like something different. Where's he saying? Recent development path. We started laying the groundwork for the pivot some time ago, so it definitely happened before then. After a lot of pressure, we decided to reset the direction of the project some time ago. The decision wasn't easy, but it was necessary. The initial vision just wasn't different enough from what you can play today. He's definitely referencing World of Warcraft. Tryndamere freaking loves World of Warcraft. He streams himself playing it. So I don't think it's going to be a copy of WoW. Parliament celebrates 7 months of membership. How about servers? Oh, I'm definitely gonna. You know what? I think we'll talk about servers tomorrow, and server health, and what it means to be on a server, kind of thing. Because sharding in World of Warcraft is absolute trash. How long do you think the game releases, or at least get some update for it? If I had to speculate on release date, I think it's going to be 2028 to 2029. In terms of update, you guys look at 2XKO. Guys, 2XKO is not even... Man, I always do this. 2xko.com. They need to buy this freaking URL. Just buy it. And just forward it to here. 2XKO isn't out yet. We're freaking still in beta. And look how the game already feels like it's here. How much news you're getting. How much the community is surrounded around it. And this has been like for a year now. I think by next year, by 2026, you're going to have something. A cinematic, an announcement, a teaser kind of thing. By 2027, you're going to have alpha, 2028 beta, 2029 release. I think that's what it's going to be. So by next year, you're really going to start seeing stuff on the Riot MMO. And we can now they're ramping up on roles, so we can definitely speculate as to what's going on internally based on these roles as a VFX artist. But yeah, I mean, by the time we get to this point, it's going to feel so close, you can taste it. So a failure of the economy. On the other end of the spectrum, Star Wars Galaxy serves as a cautionary tale of hyperinflation. Over years, the game's currency faucets, like mission payouts, were increased while its sinks remained trivial. This flooded the economy with currency, devaluing it to the point where money became almost meaningless and new players could not afford even basic goods. More recently, New World suffered from the opposite problem at launch, deflation. A lack of effective currency faucets and an overabundance of sinks meant that money was constantly being removed from the economy faster than it was being generated. Sounds like America. Grinding trade to a halt and crippling the game's crafting-centric design. These examples demonstrate that economic design is a delicate balancing act, and failure can render a game unplayable. When is it going to release? Yeah, I answered that what I think. I really need a new game to grind on, man. WoW is fun and all, but something new, you feel me? I'm 100% in the same boat. I literally don't play WoW anymore, but my brother is probably streaming right now. Let me see. Yeah, Samicus is still going hard.
The ethereal.
This is literally my brother from the same mother.
Try this.
Blam.
Yeah, he's still going hard on the WoW run. Yeah, if you guys like WoW, I would check him out. Yeah, but I know the WoW grind, I couldn't do it anymore. I'm way more interested in the Riot MMO. Graphics, same like League of Legends cartoon. I don't think it's gonna be. I mean, look at freaking. Oh, I didn't plug anything. I need to plug this in. I think it's gonna be the same look. I just think it's gonna be, a lot cleaner. I think a cartoony look is good. I don't think you should go for hyper real. I mean, look at cartoons, right? Freaking Lion King or Hercules from Disney. I mean, these movies are from the 90s. They look great, They look great today. They really do. They don't look bad because they have a cartoony, like their own cartoon art style. You need a cartoony look in MMO for it to last. If you go for hyper real, I mean, freaking, don't get me wrong, guys. Every Christmas, I'm watching the Polar Express, okay? I love the Polar Express. It's a great game. I mean, a great game. It's a great movie. But at the same time, they went for like a hyper real look. And at this point, I mean, it does look a bit like a really bad in-game cinematic. But I'm going to watch it every year nonetheless. I just want living, breathing world. Exactly. And that's what the economy has to be. Any news from Arcane? We do know one thing, that they're making a live action. Not Arcane. Everyone keeps thinking I meant like a live action. When I say that, they think I'm making a live action Arcane. They're making a live action set in Bilgewater. I do think Arcane, the actual creative studio, is going to be for Noxus. And I have a video on that where it's like, they're definitely doing this, I think, based on their site that they're using. It looks exactly like Bilgewater for the live action. And I think that the next Arcane is going to be in Noxus or Demacia. Just because of the interview, he's like, we're going to make more shows, more movies. What will be the focal point? And he says, we're dealing with a couple big threats. We're definitely looking into Noxus. We're looking at Demacia. I think I'm leaning more towards Demacia now because Noxus is kind of getting fleshed out with the League of Legends story currently. But there's a lot that could still add to it. They did like an Arcane version. So you're looking forward to getting verified and partner status. Man, there's so many people like giving me bot stuff. It's too much. My article is literally about why bots should be destroyed. We need to stay alive at least till 2030. Yeah, I know. Start working out, eat your broccoli. Just make sure you're there to play Riot MMO. I love cartoon style MMOs. Yeah, I think it's needed. I think so, and love it. Yeah. It has to be that kind of style for it to last as long as we want it to. That's why World of Warcraft is still alive. It's because it has that cartoony look. I think our style is going to be Fortiche style. Yeah, I think it's going to be like an amazing, cartoony look. And then the Arcane is still like a cartoony look. It's not going for realism. It's its own style. Cool. I do think we're going to align. And then this. I do think that's where it's going to fall. The graphic argument is outdated. It doesn't make sense as it's used to 15 years ago because we've reached a graphic plateau. The game has looked pretty much the same for the last 5 years. World of Warcraft? Are you talking about World of Warcraft? Yeah, it's Def Point. Here's the thing about World of Warcraft with the art style. Matt, how far are you going to push like current graphical design to the point that the old world really just starts looking like shit? For the world. They changed the spiders in Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms to match those new models. But at the same time, like if you push Khaz Al-Ghor so far that it just doesn't, it looks like amazing, compared to everything else, then it makes the rest of the world like really look trash. I think that they have to maintain some kind of, at least somewhat fidelity between. That's why you need to start with the right art style, the right style of game. Because at the end of the day, it's eventually. Why freaking World of Warcraft? When did it come out? 2004. It's been 20 plus years. No, I'm talking about all games. The games that went for realistic 5 years ago. Oh yeah, exactly. The games that go for realistic, they look the same and then they don't age. Oh, realistic graphics, you're saying don't age as bad as it used to. Well, it's become a long way. I'm not gonna say it hasn't. It's come a long way, but I think when you span over 20 years, like World of Warcraft after 5 years looked pretty good. And like when I was a kid, I remember I played, what was it? What did I see? I saw like Donkey Kong 64, something like that. Yeah, I remember seeing this game and thinking that that's like peak graphics. It'll never look any better than that. I saw this game and I said, this is like the best games will ever look. There's nothing better. Like they've reached, I literally remember thinking this. I saw this game and I said, Okay, I said that graphics will never be better than this because this is as good as cartoons can ever look. I remember there's one part with the water. Yeah, yeah. I remember thinking like this was peak. Like this is as good as graphics will ever look in the world. Where's the water part? I see it. I click it. I don't see water. Maybe it's a little bit past this. Yeah. I looked at this, and I was like, I was way too little to actually play. You know, I just kind of saw it, and then I thought about it as I got a little bit older. But I remember seeing it and just being like, wow, this is. It'll never look any better. That's the peak. It's the maximum. It's the nicest it'll ever look. And it'll never be improved upon. I mean, we can go 100 years into the future and it'll still look the same. So it's always, you think it's like at its peak, but it always gets better. You know, I'm sure people watched VFX from the Jurassic Park and thought it'll never get any better. Actually, you know, well, VFX, it wasn't really that much in Jurassic Park, so that was kind of a bad example. But people always think it'll never get any better, and then it does. Realistic with the Riot game. That's how I felt playing Halo 2. Yeah, freaking Halo. Halo 2. Cinematic playthrough. I remember Halo thinking the same thing. Man, Halo was so freaking good. There was a time I only played Halo. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, I thought it would never. I mean, look how much better we've gotten just from this. And I'm sure everyone at the time when this game came out, this was like insanely real. It felt real. Man, do another playthrough of that. So you always think that it's at its cap, you know, it'll never get any better, and that's just like, you know, if they do a realistic game now, it's not going to look trash in 20 years, but it will. A cautionary tale, World of Warcraft. Did I show you guys this? What happened to Star Galaxy? Yeah.
And in 2004, it had been distributed on a comparison as the prices of critical equipment.
Yeah, see, this is how real life works.
We're able to identify and fix it. Credits had been distributed on every server. And inflation spiked.
I want to show this.
Overnight, those who played the game.
Yeah, see, like, this is how real life works. What an MMO has to do is make it where it's real life but fair. You know? Like, in the real world, the world that we live in, it's not fair. You know, you'll never be the boomer that inherited wealth and freaking, you know, is living a great life and buying his third house. That's never going to be you. Because you were just born at the wrong time. That's just the way the world works. What I'm saying is, like, the MMO has to work in a way that makes it an even playing field, and your work is valued. Like, the time that you put in is what you get out. You know, like, and there's other things that can ruin this. So this is obviously one way to destroy the economy of MMO, is to have people just be able to copy freaking money. Damn, yeah, okie dokie, the cartoon, but not like Blue Protocol. Yeah, no, Blue Protocol is trash, but a cartoony look for sure. But like, this is what I'm saying is, this is tough to come back from. You can't really come back. How do you come back from this? You just wipe everyone's funds. So you just have to be careful from the start. And then there's a caution tale of World of Warcraft. Before building the future, Riot must learn from the past. So there's one for Star Wars. There's another for World of Warcraft. No issue has plagued MMO economies more than automated accounts or bots. World of Warcraft provides the ultimate case study. Its economy has been consistently undermined by two forms of automation: gathering bots that flood the market with materials 24/7, and auction house bots that use sub-second scans to constantly undercut human players.
Go on where they automatically kill any mob that they encounter. Now the patterns they have. If you look closely, you can see that this druid is only keyboard turning. Whenever he needs to move his character, he will only do it by a keyboard turn, either by pressing A or D. And the reason for this is that it's a lot easier to code a bot that keyboard turns as opposed to turning with your mouse. You know, moving your character and your camera with a mouse is a lot harder to code into a bot. A real human player would use a combination of both keyboard turning and mouse turning.
This is clearly a bot.
Stormwind.
Look at
I
this guy.
encountered this odd player that was just walking around Stormwind in a repeated pattern, with no deviation, and his guild name was the URL of a website, which of course I'm going to blur out. Now of course the website is a gold selling website, so the name of this guy's guild is advertising a gold selling website, and he is just walking around Stormwind so people can glance at this website's address.
So instead of fixing this problem, what World of Warcraft did was they said, okay, bots are farming all the materials, they're undercutting human players, they're selling gold. Instead of doing that, we'll let these bots gather all the material, they'll pay a sub, and then we'll sell people the WoW token so they can just buy gold from us and then they'll use that gold to buy the really cheap materials on the auction house that these bots are farming. That's what happened. The result is catastrophic. The value of gathering professions is obliterated. I mean, you're an idiot. If you go out and mine right now in World of Warcraft or gather an herb, it makes no sense. Just go buy it on the auction house, making it pointless for human players to participate. Crafting professions are then squeezed from both ends with cheap materials and mass-produced finishing goods from bots dominating the market. This economic ruin fuels a vicious feedback loop with real money trading. Because, I mean, the WoW token actually, I feel like, made it, one, people, okay, sure, you can go buy gold from these Chinese gold sellers, but then two, now these gold sellers can buy WoW tokens with the gold that they're getting in-game. So they don't even have to pay the WoW token. Someone else is paying the WoW token, their subscription fee, and they're paying more for the subscription because I think the WoW token is $20, and one WoW token equals 1 month of World of Warcraft. So at the end of the day, Blizzard actually makes more money from that, from them using the WoW token for the sub, which drives up the price of the WoW token, which makes players want to buy more gold. I mean, which makes players want to buy it more because now it's worth more. Crazy. And use the profits to expand their operations while legitimate players feel pressured to buy gold just to keep it. Crucially, this is a failure of game design, not just enforcement. Simple, repetitive tasks like clicking on an ore vein or trivial to automate the lesson of Riot is that an anti-bot strategy cannot be reactive. It must be a proactive design philosophy woven into the very mechanics of the game. Whereas like, what's it, Lucid Chart? I don't know if I should do this live. I'm just going to do Paint. Online Paint. Isn't there like an online version I can just draw in? Great. And how do I zoom in on this? Zoom. Where's zoom? It looks great. It looks exactly like what I'm looking for. I just want to draw this out for you guys. Oh, zoom. Large size. There we go. Okay. Now we're cooking. Very bright, but we are cooking. So you have the WoW token. You have a WoW. Where's my pen? I want to draw. Wow. Oh, maybe I'm drawing in white colors. Okay. WoW token. Now the WoW token is for gold. You buy that with real money. Where's the cam? I don't do a cam. I'm too pretty. So the WoW token costs, let's say, 10k gold. This looks like trash. 10k gold. World of Warcraft made the WoW token. You have a bot here. Bot. There's a bot. Bot sells real life gold, real life items on the auction house. Okay? Now they get the gold from the auction house and they use that to buy the WoW token. They're obviously ruining the economy by doing this. So the auction house, all the prices are dropping. And they're using that to buy the WoW token. And the WoW token pays for their sub, pays for the bot's sub. Okay? That drives down the prices over here. So if I go edit this color, this is the price. Prices are dropping here and prices are rising here. So now the WoW token is worth more. The WoW token costs $20. It's a genius play, honestly. $20 for a WoW token. Now you have our real player. Our real player is going to be orange and their name is Sally. Look at Sally, guys. That's a real person. Look at Sally, she's so happy. Sally goes to the auction house to buy goods, and they're really cheap now because they cost nothing. But she needs a little bit more. Now she can either go farm, freaking get ore or herbs or whatever. She can go get these herbs. That's a waste of time because if she tries to do that and sell them on the auction house, it's pretty much useless. It's not worth anything because this bot is constantly flooding the market. She can try to craft these into a material. The bot's crafting those as well. So that's pretty useless. So she needs money. This WoW token is now worth, let's say, freaking 50k because this bot ran up the price. Well, now this WoW token is pretty enticing. So Sally, being a good WoW player, goes and buys the WoW token. Now she has 50k gold. And Sally uses that 50k gold to buy that goods from the auction house. And that drives down the price of the auction house, and this bot continues to pump the auction house with goods, and then they raise the price of the WoW token, which Sally goes and buys to buy goods on the auction house. What the fuck? This is an economic lesson? This is a failure lesson. This is what happened with World of Warcraft, and that's why the WoW token is a way to, like, you know, just exploit the player and continue to have bots in the game. My headset was turned off when I had asked that question, but I had to watch the VOD part. 2xKO most definitely need a story mode. Yeah, please, a story mode. Yeah, like Mortal Kombat. I feel like it could easily be done. Can we name them Samicus instead? I should have. Oh my gosh, Moshi. Definitely not Moshi. Now I know who the heck you are. What up, Moshi? Man, what's up, Moshi? Pal man, what up? Eco 101. Yeah, I got you guys. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's the problem. We're gonna do that a lot more. I think that was really beneficial. That's how the WoW token works. The WoW token goes up in price because of bots, and then they kill the economy, and so you have to buy a WoW token or just go out and get gold from questing or running old raids. To succeed where others have struggled, everyone must architect a multi-layered defense against botting from day one. This requires a holistic strategy combining proactive design, advanced technology, and community empowerment. Table below breaks down the 3-pillar approach with tactics outlined in a report on advanced prevention strategies. There's literally a report on this, guys. This is where I got it from. The Silent War Advanced Bot Prevention Strategies in Modern Gaming. Proactive game design, dynamic resource spawning. So dynamic resource spawning makes sense because then it randomizes resource node locations and timers to break predictable bot farming paths. This is about making it harder for bots, but it doesn't make a difference to humans. You know, dynamic resource spawning, a human can easily figure that out. Bots, it's not like they can't figure it out, but it's gonna increase the barrier of threshold for someone to create a bot. Like at this point in World of Warcraft, it's so easy to make a bot. I could make a bot tomorrow. I designed this website, so I can definitely do a bot. Proactive game design, engaging, gathering mini games. Replaces the simple clicks and skill-based challenges that require human input, making automation more complex. You guys know how when you go to a website, it says, "Are you human?" You check the box and it says, click on the fire hydrant. Like, which of these are fire hydrants? And I get it wrong every time. Because, man, you know, that it looked like that had a fire hydrant in it. But yeah, that's kind of like, you can do that, not in an obvious way, right? I don't want to freaking see a pop-up that says, "Are you human? Check this box. What's a fire hydrant?" Which I have images that have fire hydrants, but you can do it with proactive game design. Intelligent transaction limits, systematic flags, and restrict accounts exhibiting non-human trading velocity and volume to disrupt ARM team networks. Like, there's no way Blizzard doesn't see that this bot is on the auction house and automatically undercutting within milliseconds every single human that posts. There's no way. AI power detection, use AI, sure. Behavioral biometrics, analyze mouse, keyboard patterns, identify statistical signatures of automation with high accuracy. So this guy, this bot,
movement. Another
it's so
thing to
obvious.
notice is that this druid never actually targets or reacts to me. Considering that I'm a high-level mage relative to him, you would think that this character would have some kind of reaction, or at least target me just to see what I'm about. But this druid is basically playing like I don't exist.
He, like, every time he drops in health.
This bot is scripted so that when the character is under 70% health, it will cast regrowth.
It should be easily detectable. That bot is like the low end of the bot. That's the low-hanging fruits. Community empowerment, gamifying, reporting, rewards players in-game currency or cosmetics. Definitely not in-game currency, actually. I'm gonna remove that. For accurate bot report, turning the community into a detection network. I don't know about this one. You should want to get rid of bots just because you're, it helps with the community. It helps you at the end of the day because you're using the economy as well to help grow. So, and I don't want to see cosmetics because then, you're kind of, it's like, what are you going to give a rat cosmetic? Get your rat outfit today. Gave them a reward. That's kind of cool. I mean, it doesn't have to happen to everyone, right? That they get pulled out of the matrix and onto some like island where they have to do a mini game. But if like someone's running around like this
and
with it this freaking obvious, yeah, you should maybe like just do that. That makes sense. I kind of like that. Community empowerment, player elected council, establish a formal channel for dedicated players to advise developers on economic health and anti-botting policy. I mean, if you're not listening to the community, which, I see a lot of games don't do that very well. Listen to your community when they say this is a problem and botting's everywhere. Conclusion, the way to the world. The search for a principal economy designer is more than a job listing, it's a statement of intent. It confirms Riot is undertaking a deep foundational reset of its MMO project aimed to genuinely evolve the genre. This pivot implies a longer development time and a monumental design challenge, creating an economy that is both deep and accessible, in a world that is resilient to the failures of the past. The ultimate success of the Runeterra MMO will hinge not on its graphics or lore, but on its ability to foster a stable, fair, and engaging virtual society. It will be defined by whether the effort of a legitimate player feels rewarding in a world under constant assault from automation. Like, if you're getting replaced by AI in real life, you don't want to get replaced by AI in MMO. That's the thing. Like, MMO should be like the real world in a lot of ways, but also better than the real world. Like, the real world kind of sucks in that way, you know. But you shouldn't be replaced by a bot in your freaking video game too. This immense responsibility rests on the shoulders of the designers who will architect the new world's economic constitution. They aren't just starting a game, they're layering the foundation of the world. And that's it. That's the Riot MMO's grand economic blueprint. And now, I don't have any lore today because I really did try to do that VO thing. So I had an article, but it's not where I want it to be yet. And so I didn't post it. I'm going to finish it today and it'll go up here. And so, you know, it'll be up by the end of the day, and then you guys can come here, read it, and then we'll go over it tomorrow.